Hey, everybody. I'm not staying on. Just felt the need to get in real quick and share something. This is a magazine that I have been receiving, and I'm just starting to really delve into it because, by the time you get through with social media, there's not too much time left to get into, some reading material like news magazines. But this particular magazine is called The Legacy of Lynching: Justice for Black Women, Voting Rights Hearings. Anyway, the main title of the magazine is called The Crisis. This month's articles, Speaking the Truth to Power, is specifically about suicide or homicide, and it's called The Suspicious Deaths of the Ferguson Activists. So I was just starting to delve into some of the article. Very powerful stuff. Not that I haven't been saying it all along. Hey, Uncle Roger, how are you? Not that I haven't been saying all along that we need to start addressing why mainstream media is not addressing our issues, why mainstream media is not talking about our problems and our challenges and our issues. Why are we not pushing back against mainstream media to speak about our issues and our problems and our challenges and the prevalence of death and murder by police and kidnappings and abuses and victimization by the system, like they talk about everything else. And as a humanist, I'm impassioned about people in general and all issues, but I think it's important that we start to put the pressure on mainstream media to be responsible. And just like anything else, we have the power to block out or blackout. We could just shut the TV off or change the channel. I posted in the feed about a news channel, a news station down in Georgia, in Atlanta, that made a commitment to be activists and to be socially responsible. And, that is something, again, that they will only do if we demand it. And the way we demand it, just like we did, although we didn't do enough with the football season and the Black Lives Movement, we still impacted their pockets by not turning on the TV. We didn't do enough because I think we should all have the right to kneel or stand or not, address the flag. So again, I don't think we succeeded completely, but I think we made a loud enough statement. I think the same applies in this instance as it relates to mainstream media and us pushing back and saying, we will not watch you if you do not speak on our issues, our challenges, and our problems. Again, I'm not going to stay on that long, but I did want to address one thing in particular. Again, this is called The Crisis. And it is speaking truth to power, and I recommend that everybody get this magazine. One of the things we also talk about is how we don't necessarily support each other, and we don't know all the the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth. Well, I'm telling you, it's here. So I'm always impassioned about what's happening with the immigrant families. There isn't a day that goes by, whether I'm in New Jersey or New York, that when I now see a Latino family, a young Latino family who is evidenced to be from South America, that I do not get a pain in my heart and get choked up, because it's real. And I can't make believe just because I'm not seeing what those families are suffering right at the border, and those children are suffering with at the border, that I can't, that somehow when I see other families walking down the street living their normal lives, that it's not going to impact me. So I implore everybody, when you're doing your daily tasks, reflect on the happenings around you. What is normal and what is not normal that's happening in this country right now. So in honor of, I'm sorry, just emotional, because I keep thinking about the crap that keeps happening I was listening to some video about reparations today, and they were describing one of the ways to intimidate Africans or enslaved people, women and children, and the other slaves into submission, and how they tortured a black male by tying his legs together, tying his legs apart on two different horses, burning him, and then literally ripping him in two. And these are the kind of things that we've dealt with in the past. And now when I, today find myself in this position where I'm defending black rights, and I'm defending Hispanic rights, and I'm defending brown rights, I try to keep it emotionally at a distance, but sometimes you just can't. You have to process the brutality and the sick, vile, unspeakable actions that have been done in the past that are happening now in the present. And I also posted in the CMTY Solutions page specifically about an article that was done by the Post as it related to finding 168 young girls that were all engaged in sex trafficking. They had been involved in a sex trafficking ring, and the police found them. And I don't just go to the article, I go to the minds and the spirits and the well-beings of those young children, those young girls who are forever damaged. They're ruined. I mean, they may, if God wills, if it's meant through psychological supports and social supports, be able to get a semblance of their life back, but they're ruined, they're damaged, and we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility, people. We have a responsibility to that. And again, if we don't put our foot on their necks, the judicial system's next, the policing system's next, the media's next, our council, our Congress, our Senate's next. If we don't actively participate in asking why are you not doing your jobs, and we keep paying them, they're going to get they have no sense of responsibility to us whatsoever. None whatsoever. So again, it's difficult for me, but I'm not going to drag this out. I just, in honor, as I was listening to them honor ancestors and honor people of the past, I felt specifically, because this article was about, it says, say her name. So we don't say the names of the women who are victims. We're not going to say the names, obviously for protective reasons, the names of the children who have been abducted and put into sex trafficking and violated, or the women who are currently being violated as we speak, and children that we're currently ignoring. I think we're ignoring them. But what I did want to do was acknowledge a few of them. I'm sure there's thousands and thousands that won't be, and hundreds of names, but I did want to just acknowledge a few of them. So Charlene Lyles, she was a pregnant mother of 3, and she called the police in Seattle about a burglary in her house, and the police shot and killed her. The case was dismissed. She was killed less than a year after Philando Castillo, and no media was given. In fact, very little. She was tweeted about 11,000 times, and Castillo was 7 times tweeted and pushed through social media, 7 times more. Well, my question would be, when did Black lives stop mattering? I don't know if they ever did, but when did women's lives stop mattering? And will they ever? And then I just wanted to mention a couple of more names. Kimberly Crenshaw, she does a TED Talk specifically talking about the violence against women. She's a Columbia University professor. So look for her on TED Talk. She does, and I'll try to post it also, the urgency of intersectionality. And I'm going to give you a few more names, just because I think they deserve the respect that anyone who dies unjustly deserves. Latasha Walton, she was, yes, yeah, I hear you, baby, thank you. Latasha Walton was at a traffic stop, and she was fatally shot. In this particular case, I believe they said that justice was served. Shakiri was fatally shot by a police officer. She suffered from schizophrenia. Her mother called for help, and they ended up killing her. Charlene Lyles and her unborn baby were fatally shot by police in her home in 2017. Evidently, someone from 911 said that there was hazardous information, and the police officer used that as justification to murder her, and the judge dismissed the case. Michelle Kasu killed in Phoenix, Arizona, and she was also mentally ill. She was having a mental episode, and they murdered her. Ayanna Stanley Jones was only a baby. She was 7 years old. A little Detroit girl was fatally shot by an officer, and she slept on her couch. The officer was charged, but all of the charges were dismissed. Tamisha Anderson, she was slammed to the pavement by the Cleveland police, and evidently she also died. Miriam Carey was a dental hygienist from DC, and they ran her car. The police officers rammed their car into hers, and they killed her. Deborah Dana was fatally shot in the Bronx. Deborah Dana was 66 years old, and neighbors reported that she was acting a little irrationally. So she was maybe suffering from dementia or some other kind of unusual ailment. There are lots of things that happen as people get older. The police felt the need to shoot her. The police officer was charged with second-degree murder, but in this instance, the judge also dismissed the charges. So I'm just reading a couple here. As we know, the grief and anguish that goes to the family members is unspeakable, but the grief and the anguish that goes to people who care about lives is also unspeakable. And I implore you guys to just start thinking a little more deeply and a little more carefully and a little more with a little more sensitivity as to what's really happening day to day in the lives of brown and black people in America, and why we are, ask yourselves, we're under attack, and stop looking at the idea of reparations as a activist or radical or a extremist black issue, because it's the reparations that we're asking about and we're talking about are not about putting a dollar in our pocket. We're about demanding that this system be changed once and for all, so our children and our women and our grandmothers and our aunts and our uncles and our brothers and our sisters, which is a story for another day, are not falling victim. And that's all it comes down to. So on that, peace out. Thank you for listening. I don't want to interrupt. Please go listen to our Community Talk Radio. Always has excellent subject matter, thought-provoking, critical thinking. I highly recommend everybody. You want to hear Truth Media, go listen to them. RTM 2000 between the hours of 1 and 3 o'clock. And again, check out articles in the CMTY solutions page if you want to get up-to-date information and some solutions. I try to include them. And The Crisis. It's a new magazine, black-owned, black stories, black truth, things that are going on in our country, real-life stuff that we need to be dealing with every day, and we need to be repairing, which is why everybody needs to get on the bandwagon and say, yes, we want reparations in the United States of America, long overdue. It's hot out here. I gotta go. Thank you all for listening and supporting always. Peace. Thanks again, everybody, for supporting. Hey, David, how are you? Hey, Kelly, love you too. Love you guys. AJ Lester, thank you. Yes. I'm not educated enough. I have a lot to learn, AJ, and I'd like to know more of my history, and I'd like to know more of our past, but I have to focus right now on the present, because the present is what our challenges are, not the past. Hey, Wayne, how's it going? And yes, it is about pressure. It's always, always, always about putting the pressure on. And there are not enough of us. And I say that us, I mean all of us, all colors, all shades, all creeds, all ethnicities, coming together and pushing back against the system. It's hurting us. It's damaging us. It's causing harm. Anyway, peace.